An impact from a submunition reportedly ignited a fire, prompting an emergency response from rescue teams. Air raid sirens had earlier sounded across Tel Aviv and surrounding areas as the missiles approached. Residents rushed to bomb shelters as the warning systems alerted civilians to the incoming threat. The latest attack marked the 8th missile assault launched by Iran since midnight.
Iran fooled $1 million missile with $10 of paint. They painted fake jets on their runway. Satellites thought they were real aircraft. A precision missile was fired and destroyed a drawing. $10 paint. $1 million missile. Iran won that trade. Iran fooled $1 million missile with $10 of paint. They painted. Iran fooled $1 million missile with.
Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well and teach well with sincerity, honesty, and integrity. Brothers laboring in this truth, putting their life on the line. Salutations to you brothers and you brothers and sisters who believe in this truth wholeheartedly and sincerely. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right. Let me grab this real quick. Habakkuk 2, verse 16, it reads, Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. All right? They're being naked. They're being seen. Esau, Edom is being seen for who they actually are, and that's the devil, man. All right? And it reads, The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. All right? Because you will now becoming a laughingstock amongst these nations, man. You know, you can use your propaganda machine, the media, right? You know, to cast spells on people, making them believe that you are winning this war and you doing this and you doing that, man. But you letting this smaller power, you know, take you on, and you supposed to be a superpower. You and Israel, you know, Israel not being a superpower, but you know, them guys is putting up a fight, man. You see, and making you look stupid at the same time, man. You know, these people have those Iranians over there, those Persians, man, them Edomites, right, over there. They've been preparing for this war for about 20 years, man. You know, they've been been doing all different type of strategies to get ready for your best punch, man. All right, and they're looking to counter that punch, all right, with different counters, man. You see, and now you done got yourself into a fight that you thought you was just gonna Venezuela them, man, right? But it's not happening like that. No matter how you telling, Tel Aviv. You just watched the video how Tel Aviv's getting hit with multiple munitions coming from one missile, man. You see, they're ready to put up that fight, man. And now you having it where Iran is starting to hit civilian sites, man. At first it was strategic, bombing bases, bombing oil places, right? Americans basically partners, for lack of better words, in that region, right? American interest, there you go. American interest in those regions. But now you're starting to see now even they bombing Tel Aviv, bombing civilian sites. I mean, it's getting real out there, man. You see? So they're going to stop bombing those places in those regions, man. And then now, they're getting intelligence, from Russia, because ultimately Russia, when you go into the scripture, Ezekiel 38, how Russia's going to be a guard unto them. All right. But, they're going to allow, Russia to continue to make, Russia's going to continue to allow Iran to go out there and make y'all look like a fool, man, and continue to weaken y'all stockpile of munitions, right? You know, you like that video said, if that happens to be true, man, you wasted $1 million missile on paintings, man. You see, they making y'all look like fools, man. I seen some other thing about how they try to do an anti-defense on Iran's missiles, and the missiles wasn't even missiles. It was something. It was. I gotta go find that video. I was like, wow, man, these dudes is playing with America and Israel, man, over there. The Israelis. I hate calling them Israel, but you know, the Israelis, the small, the tiny tops. All right. But yeah, that shameful spewing is upon your glory, because the world is watching. It's on a world stage, and they're tapped into those alternative news, and you know, and not completely relying on the West for their information, man. All right, because the Western media is gonna lie, man, and they're gonna put those false narratives out there, man. You know, but even those of his own allies is not. It's like, hey, man, Spain got Spain. Like, man, we're not jumping in this shit, man. With you guys, man. You know, and to the point where America now saying, you know, talking bad about his own allies, man. I mean, we're in great times, man. This is a beautiful time to see prophecies play themselves out, man. We understand, right? We gotta always bring this out, because you know, we're seeing the groundwork of World War III, but we understand right here, 2 Ezra 4:37, it reads, by measure hath he measured the times, right? So by measure has he measured the times, and by number have he numbered the times, and he did not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled, right? So until the MOTB, the mark of the beast, is fulfilled, we're going to start seeing these, you know, we're going to have rumors of wars, little skirmishes, and, you know, but it won't be all out, you know, the end of America, man, right? The end of Esau, Edom's world, you know, his age, all right? You know, but you're starting to see the beginning, you know, those sown places being unsown, you know, tearing apart from the seams, man. You know, you're seeing him losing his wisdom. You've seen him losing his ability to, you know, that covering cast, that veil that he had all over the nations and over all the people, the gross darkness. Now that light is being shined on him from the prophets, man. You know, he's being consumed with fire through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, by the mouthpiece of the fire prophets, man. You see? And it's a beautiful time to see these things, man. It's a faith booster to see, you know, the unraveling of Esau Edom, man. You know, he is no longer the man. Matter of fact, I think it's Isaiah 13. Let's grab that and we'll end it right there. Isaiah 14, if I'm not mistaken. Isaiah 14 and verse 11. The pomp is bright unto the grave, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. All right. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weakest the nations? All right. And this, when you go into Lucifer, that just goes into a light bearer, right? And these people call themselves the illuminated ones, right? And it reads, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. You know, I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I was Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And this is how he conduct himself, man, and he portray himself to be. But everybody know that, man, he's not who he say he is, man. He's being, like we just read, that he is being brought down. You know, how are you brought down? Right? Through the spirit of power, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, right? And it reads, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth tremble, that did shake kingdoms, man? And this is how they starting to look at this, man. It's that shameful spewing, man. You see, that wine is starting to wear off, man. That Babylon juice, that you was the Babylon has been the golden cup in the Lord's hand, that wine, all right? Matter of fact, let's go grab that real quick since I mentioned it. Jeremiah 50:7, it reads, so like 51:7, it reads, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Yeah, man. They're starting to see this man for who he really is. It's wearing off, man. You see? And, you know, they already had, it was wearing off years ago, you know, when Elder Abba Bivens came on the scene, right? But now you're starting to see it coming more in fruition because of that great awakening. You know, this gospel been preached to the four corners of the earth, all right? And then the end should come. You starting to see the end of Esau, Edom's kingdom, man. We're in a beautiful time right now, man. You know, this is why this is the time, more importantly, to not put off from day to day, you know, because this is the time where the Lord is he's visiting this place, man. You know, through the things that we're seeing. You know, if you're measuring the time diligently, you can see that we're closer to the end, man. That's why they getting you closer to implementing that MOTB, man. Make that mandatory mark, man. That mandatory charagma, man. You see? That's what they doing, man. And, you know, we gonna just sit back and watch prophecy be fulfilled, man. You know, the men of the Lord, you sincere women, the sincere believers, they're looking at these things, man, and they're excited, man, because they believe their way out of the destruction of America is through, you know, entering into the chambers through those chariots, man. That's our safe haven, man. That's our salvation, you know. But we want to see the end of this man's rulership in the beginning of Yahweh Shem Yahweh's kingdom, which dwelleth righteousness, man. All right, but you know, that's it, man. Just a quick little watch and pray through the spirit and power. Yahweh Shem Yahweh. Continue to watch and pray. Be sober, you know. Be vigilant, you know, through the spirit and power. Yahweh Shem Yahweh. All right. Shalom to those for life.